Ivan and Nikita Koloff.
This is the man that molds champions, manager James J. Dillon, and with you, Nature Boy Buddy Landell.
Before you ask why he has his back turned to the camera, I've had a real problem the last couple weeks, especially with the video that everyone saw last week. I received several letters from all over the country where several fathers were a little bit upset because their daughters were sitting there watching the television screen. Nature Boy Buddy Landell came out there as only he can look, and there were young girls fainting in living rooms all across this country. So I want to give the fathers that are sitting home watching time to send their daughter out to the kitchen to get some Kool-Aid or whatever it is, because I'm going to have the Nature Boy turn around now, and I think I've given ample warning. Nature Boy, I think there's a few wives sitting at home that are passing out too. I think we got some jealous husbands on our hands.
You know, Tony, it wasn't long ago I was sitting in my living room. I didn't have a clue where the Nature Boy Buddy Landell's career was going. And then I got a phone call one day, and it was this man right here, James J. Dillon. And he wanted to turn the Nature Boy's career around because he saw a diamond in the rough. Now, I made the move. JJ said, do you want to make the move? Do you want to come to the major leagues? Do you want to be NWA Wrestling, Jim Crockett Promotions? Do you want to be on the Superstation? And I made the move, brother, and I'm here. And like I said in my video, Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, all of you, look out, move over, because the Nature Boy Buddy Landell is here to stay, brother. You know, Tony, Ric Flair took somebody's place a long time ago. And the history books and Times says that the Nature Boy Buddy Landell is here to take Ric Flair's place. Flair, you're an old man. You're a great champion. I'm not taking nothing away from you, brother, but you're no Buddy Landell. And you always want to make it convenient upon yourself to be someplace else when I'm standing out here right on TV. Well, that's good and fine, because when I waste everybody that comes in my path, the Magnum TAs and all this other stuff, there's nowhere else you're going to be able to hide, brother. So Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, Manny Fernandez, Dick Slater, with James J. Dillon in my corner, there's no way that I can lose. That's right, I said it.
And we'll be back with more. You come back also.
We had, say what? A whole lot of superstars on this stage here tonight. But I want y'all to know one thing. This is my house. And when I say who's
word attack skills and vocabulary too. Comprehension of this edition is all brand new. You're through. I'm interplanetary and like Doctor Who. So who?
Fuck your beef, no relief. I step on stage, girls scream like I'm Keith.
What's up, everybody? It is Ring Time Pro Wrestling. Keith is in the building, coming to you an early morning Friday, dropping a new show. Basically, we're getting caught up for the week. We were going to do this show probably a few hours earlier, but I had to get some rest. So here we are, getting it done. I'm flying solo in the captain's chair again this week. We are recapping All In, the pay-per-view that went down Saturday night from Chicago. We will also get you caught up on this week in wrestling, what went on in the WWE, major news and notes, and we will catch you up on the PWI 500. It had its latest release. This year it is topped by Kenny Omega. It is the second year in a row that a non-WWE superstar is at the top of the list. And I mean, if you want to go further, third year it was, which was 2016, it was AJ Styles, who was a very new WWE superstar. And I think part of the thing that made him go to the top was him being the top guy in New Japan, and then following up and rising to the top in a year's time to WWE. I mean, it's the same guy. I mean, you got to think about it. 2016, his year starts off with him in Wrestle Kingdom. So, I had to get that out. But we're going to talk about it. We're going to go down the list. We're not going to go through the whole 500 because that would be crazy. But we will probably just do an overview of the top 10 and maybe plug some highlights from maybe the top 20 or 30. And figure out who can rise up and what can change. And did they get things right? I mean, what things with polls? Polls are very interesting because, or polls, any kind of rankings that you do, is because everybody has an opinion. Everybody has their favorites. Everybody thinks somebody should be higher. And only the people based on the criteria who created can tell you why they came up with the people that they have. But it makes for good Waller Cooler talk, right? So let's talk All In. Going down Saturday night. Very good show. Did not disappoint. So for those of you who got to watch the pre-show on WGN, that was great. For those of us who didn't, you can watch the show if you haven't seen it. It is available on New Japan World on the app. They finally uploaded it. It took about 3 days to get it up after the show, which I understand. Because people have different agreements. People made certain licensing deals and contracts for the pay-per-view and the pay-per-view rights, that kind of thing. But it is available for use to people who subscribe to New Japan World. I'm sure Honor Club members, Ring of Honor, you already was able to partake. And if you paid full price and you watched on Fight TV, great. So let's talk about it. So I'm going to start from the beginning of the actual show. The opening match, Matt Cross versus MJQ. Matt Cross defeated MJQ. I'm sorry, MJF. I'm thinking MJQ because I'm thinking I'm here in Atlanta. MJF. Decent enough match. The second match was Christopher Daniels versus Stephen Amell. For those of you who don't know, Stephen Amell is the Arrow CW show, DC comic show. Very good show. Now, my personal opinion, it falls off after season 3. But still solid show. I just think seasons 1 and 2 were so good. And 3 was excellent. 3, I think they shot the load. I think 3, they went so far, it was like, I don't know what I'm going to do after that. But anyway, I digress. It's a good show. I love the crossover appeal that the show has with the other DC shows that come on to CW. I'm a big fan of that whole block with Flash. My favorite show out of the group now currently is Legends of Tomorrow. But yeah, so that's neither here nor there. Daniels beat Amell in what turned out to be a decent match. The match had a special guest referee. ECW legend Jerry Lynn was in the house to ref the match. And him and Daniels had some words a couple of times during the match, but that didn't stop Jerry Lynn from, count down 1, 2, 3. Amell looked good. I mean, he's been training. He's been working. This is his 3rd professional match. This is his first singles match. And hey, he did not beat an established wrestler in a wrestling match. And, afterward, everybody was good sports and shook hands and gave the effort. But I want to highlight that he did not beat an established wrestler in a wrestling match because, that's kind of... People hate when guys from not in the business are involved in matches like this. And what they did was they didn't give it prime time. They got a second match. Something to keep people interested and probably bring some eyes to the show that may or may not watched. And one thing, this show didn't lack star power. So John Mayer was in the audience in the second row. Like, this place was packed and it had some people because people wanted to see this. So all good. Now the show really picks up in the third match. It's a fatal 4-way. Tessa Blanchard, Britt Baker, Madison Rayne, and Chelsea Green. Tessa Blanchard, legendary daughter of legendary wrestler Tully Blanchard, WWE Hall of Famer, 4 Horsemen. Tessa has an interesting story because Tully's her dad, but her stepdad was Magnum TA growing up. Because let you know that, which is very interesting in wrestling circles, just because the rivalry that Tully and Magnum had in the ring. So it makes wow, this is crazy. Like, it's about as crazy as a wrestling storyline. But nevertheless, that young lady grew up with 2 legends who, helped her, gave her advice and that kind of thing. And they both were there. So when she walked out, Tully was there, Magnum was there, and they were there for when she came out, which I thought was awesome. Awesome, man. Because, I mean, the show itself has a lot of legacy in it. Because, I mean, it's conceived from Cody Rhodes, Dusty Rhodes' son. So, the idea that Magnum and Tully's daughter is kind of like this thing. So, you have the hands of old Crockett pay-per-view guy in this thing. So, it's kind of cool. But yeah, Tessa's there, and she showed why she was a star. Like, I think most of the match, there was a lot of moments where you watched it and you said, wow, this lady has it. I've been following her career for about 4 years now. Actually had a chance to meet her at a fan fest in Rome, Georgia, a while back. Very personable young lady. Very talented, very athletic, and she's altered her game. She has really gotten into bodybuilding as of late, and it shows. And it shows in her performance, it shows in her look, and she dominated in that ring, and it made you think like, whoa. And found out she's the new Impact Knockouts champion. So, hey, big things happened at that Impact, which... shout out to them snatching her up, because the WWE had a shot. She was in last year's Mae Young Classic, which has just kicked off this week. Wednesday was the first round of matches. Our own Keisha will be covering Mae Young Classic for the Ringtime Pro Wrestling, and she will give a rundown of what's going on there. And she'll probably have videos, and she'll probably, do the whole thing like she did last year, a complete recap. So be on the lookout for that. But yeah, Tessa, incredible. She won the match. The finish was a little, and I think there was a slight confusion with the count. But hey, one thing I'm not going to be hard about on this show, because we're going to get to the main event controversy a little later, is that, hey man, this show was put on by the boys. So this is their first time with all of this production and everything. Like, this is their first time trying to figure all this stuff out. So they know the matches, they know the wrestling, but some of this back end stuff ain't their expertise. So they figured it out. And sometimes things don't always go 100%. Well, I thought that was a very good match. The fourth match was shocking for me, because it was Cody Rhodes versus Nick Aldis for the NWA Championship. And I thought this would be the main event, because I thought, to me, this was the highest profile match on the show. I was mistaken. But all in all, very good match. Very entertaining. A lot of twists and turns. A lot of things happening. Cody was brought down to the ring by his America's Nightmare team, which included Diamond Dallas Page, Tommy Dreamer, his father-in-law, Brandy Rose's dad. Like, it was a real cool group. Came down, he had his dog, and of course Brandy was there looking studded as ever. All this came down with the NWA title, the 10 pounds of gold, and they delivered a good match. And Aldis did not retain. Cody Rhodes is the new NWA champion, which, if you go to ringtimeprowrestling.com, there's currently an article up which asks, can Cody Rhodes revive the NWA title? Because there's no secret. The NWA, ever since splitting from WCW back in the day, hasn't been the same. So when Dusty Rhodes won the NWA title, or Flair when he carried the belt, it was a monstrously big deal in the business. You were the champion. Now, other organizations like the WWF, AWA and stuff like that broke away and created their own champion, but the NWA champion still was the major champ. And in the territory days, he went around to the territories and defended the title. because of the way the wrestling business has changed and the way the companies have evolved, it's not like that now. But that belt has survived. It has continued a strong lineage. It has continued to have champions. And I'm going to say this. Nick Aldis was a great champion with that belt. He, I thought, increased the profile of that title way higher than it had been in recent years. I mean, probably since it had been affiliated with TNA. But since then, yeah, it's been around. Adam Pearce had a good run with the belt, but yeah, I thought Aldis was a really good champ, and I thought the things he did, like defending it 20 times in 30 days and getting all over the world and getting that social media buzz cracking for the belt, I thought he was a good champ. But I think Cody can take it to the next level. I think Cody understands the new era of wrestling better than anybody. I think he, by being one of the people who put together this show, shows that he can really do some things in the business. He's always been good at evolving his characters. Even when he was with the WWE, he was always a step ahead of the curve. And this is a guy who proved that you could leave the WWE and have a very viable career as a pro wrestler. And he still wrestles all around the world in different organizations anyway, as it is. So now he'll be carrying the NWA title. So I think he'll do a lot for the belt. Like I said, really good match. A lot of twisted turns. Cody got busted open. Both guys fought. They did what they had to do. Brandy got involved. And she didn't cheat. She just got involved, right? So she comes in the ring. She covers Cody because she doesn't want Aldis to drop the elbow. Aldis gives zero fucks because Brandy was in position before he left that top rope. And he came down with that elbow on top of that young lady. And that set it off. Now, here's one thing I'll say too. The crowd was pro Cody. Like, Aldis didn't have a chance. I mean, I understand Cody might have supposed to be positioned as a heel, but that crowd was pro Cody Rhodes. Like, they didn't care about who Nick Aldis was. They don't care that it's Mickie James' husband. That crowd loved them Cody Rhodes. And it was great. And I thought Cody delivered. Hangman Page versus Joey Janela, Chicago Street Fight. Hangman Page wins. Very good match. A lot of athleticism showed by Page. That's pretty much all I got for that. Jay Lethal defeated Flip Gordon for the ROH title. Flip Gordon was escorted to the ring by Brandy Rhodes. Brandy looked gorgeous in that one. So, I mean, she was working to be her MVP of the show that night. She was doing it up. Jay Lethal coming to the ring as Black Machismo. I haven't seen Black Machismo in a while. His takeover Macho Man Randy Savage. And if you go come to the ring as Black Machismo, having Leaping Lanny Poffo walk you down to the ring, the Macho Man's brother, I think was a great touch. A great touch. The match was all over the place. It was a good match. There was a little bit of violence afterwards because Bully Ray came down and he wanted to do some things, and he ended up going through a table because of it, because Colt Cabana came, which was good, man. It was good to see Colt in Chicago doing some wrestling in his hometown. Match of the night, I predicted and I thought was going to be the match of the night. Kenny Omega versus Pentagon Jr. Good match. You thought Pentagon had a chance against the world champ, but he didn't. But after the match, the lights went out. There was a switcheroo, and there was a guy dressed like Pentagon, but wasn't him. And bam, it's Chris Jericho. Jericho attacked Omega, and the feud is still cracking, apparently. Which, this is interesting, because this feud is between the IWGP champ and the IWGP IC champion. when do you face off, and do you put both their belts on the line? I mean, that's what is interests me. Now, the following match has a little bit of controversy because it's Kushida Okada versus Marty Scurll. Marty, member of the Bullet Club, Kushida Okada, probably the most dominant wrestler over the past 2 years, probably one of the most popular worldwide. This match goes 26 minutes. And easily the longest match on the show by at least 11 minutes. Cody and Kenny's matches both went about 17. So this match is like 26 minutes. Whew. It was decent, but they could have left some stuff out. But it's Okada, man. Like, Okada doesn't do like a 15-minute match. Like, I can't tell you the last time I watched him do that, especially getting that kind of slot on the pay-per-view. I mean, it was one of those things too. Like, they could have him. I was surprised the NWA title wasn't like maybe in this slot, but they weren't gonna have Okada curtain jerking to do it like the third match. So that's fine. But that bled, and he beat Marty. But that bled into them saying that the 6-man tag, which was the main event, which I thought was a good idea for a main event, because I think it was a feel-good main event. No matter who would have won, you wouldn't have felt bad. But it was Golden Elite, Kota Ibushi, and the Young Bucks, and they defeated Rey Mysterio, who was good to see Rey always, Rey Fenix, and Bandito. Now, this match only went 11 minutes. It didn't feel as I think having context later, it might have felt a little rushed. But and the thing is, I think maybe those guys should have took more time, because they ended up cutting the match short for the time of the pay-per-view. But it's kind of like, hey man, this y'all pay-per-view, y'all running the show. But once again, the show is being ran by the boys, so everybody, things are a little different. But all in all, really good show. I think it delivered the goods. 11,000 people, ticket buying people. So these guys made a ton of money. And this could alter the business, because I think if other guys feel like they could do a draw individually, it may not be 10,000 people, but hey man, if you could get 5,000 and you could get the money between you and your friends, you might be on to something. But then the proceeds for the pay-per-view dollars, I think, will be real solid for everybody. So, with that being said, we're going to hit our first break. We're going to come back, and we're going to do the news. And I got birthdays on the list, and I haven't done birthdays in like 3 episodes. So, maybe we'll get to birthdays, because, I mean, that's kind of a staple of this show. We kind of tripping we not doing birthdays. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, we'll be back. Did this pick up? Because
in this title bout.
Well, I have to respect my intelligence, because I predicted that one of the smaller men, not that 240 pounds is small, would come out the victor in the Battle Royal. Now, Mad Dog Vachon, you stand up here and you epitomize the lowest elements of humanity. You talk about coming out of garbage cans, and you've got something to be thankful and grateful on this day. And this is the opportunity of your lifetime. I want you to know something. I am very grateful, but then I worked very hard for what I have. I've maintained it. I've represented the heavyweight championship of the world with the class and the dignity that it deserves. Now, there's one thing about the human animal. If it has class, it has it. If it doesn't, you cannot give it to them. And as far as you are concerned, you cannot come to my level of class and sophistication. You cannot come to my wrestling ability. But I can see that the human animal has always been able to go down the ladder, back, retrogress, into the gutter. And I hate to say it, but on Thanksgiving Day, I guess that's exactly where we're going to have to go. and see what kind of bones and carcass is going to be left over, because we're going to have to scrap and kick and bite and scratch. I, the heavyweight champion of the world, the most sophisticated and respected athlete in our sport, will have to, for one day, get down at your level. And it'll be a very denigrating day, but I have every intention of coming out of this the heavyweight champion of the world.
You know, Nick Bockwinkel,
What?
it's just possibly conceivable that all of us on Thanksgiving have a lot to be thankful for. Past, present, and future.
Well, I'm
Bobby
going to
Heenan.
change the course of history. Thanksgiving night, we're not going to have turkey. We're going to have dog. And you know how you prepare dog? Well, you don't put cranberries to it. You don't put stuffings to it. You put the boots to it. So when the dog's down there on the mat and he's getting his teeth kicked out, both of them, and he's rolling around in pain, he's going to know he's in the ring with the heavyweight champion of the world. Now, for the question of the day. How's the Vikings going to blow it today, huh? Figure that one out. The same as Vachon. They're outclassed.
All right, birthdays. We are back. So, today is September 7th. Yesterday was the 6th, which that would have gave you Wendy Richter, WWE superstar, or WWF at her time, Hall of Famer. The Barbarian, one half of the Powers of Pain, Warlord the Barbarian, celebrated birthday. The Barbarian turned 60. That is awesome. Jillian used to hang out with JBL and stuff like that, turned 38. Braun Strowman had a birthday yesterday. Braun turned 35. That's a big dude. Also, we're going to talk about the demonstrification of Braun Strowman. Because why not? Today, September 7th, when the show drops, Molly Holly will be celebrating a birthday. Molly Holly turns 41. And that's it for today. Tomorrow, Raven has a birthday. Raven will be 54. And that is it for birthdays. So on to the news. There's not a lot of news that's cracking. Well, the WWE announced that there will be a new tell-all book with unprecedented access to Vince McMahon. Now, the WWE is announcing this. I'm going to say this. Ain't going to be that much of a tell-all. Like, I think they're going to have little tidbits, and they're going to have small things in this thing that are going to be like, oh, wow, I didn't know that. And I think they're going to walk it up to the line of salacious, but it's the company's book. They not about to go too far. You're not about to find that groundbreaking. Most of the stuff will be stuff we already knew, and they'll embellish some of their side of the story. That's probably what's going to come out of this book. Like, I really don't expect like this book to be like, oh, this is the deep inner working mind of Mr. McMahon, or he got a diva pregnant, they got rid of her, or, you know what I mean? Like, that kind of stuff is not going to be in there. Trust me. But, yeah, so that's happened. Linda McMahon denies writing an anti-Trump piece. So, for those of you who don't know, in the New York Times, somebody wrote an editorial, and they read it. It's from an anonymous source who was said to be a senior member of the Trump inner circle. And it's kind of scathing. And everybody's just saying it ain't them. But it's got to be somebody. So somebody lied. But, you know, it's just funny because Linda McMahon, who's the head of Small Business Association, her name pops up in these politics sometimes. So, yeah, that's something that I just thought would be interesting. And that's about it as far as... RIP Burt Reynolds. Burt Reynolds passed away. WWE issued a statement basically saying that they are sad to learn that Academy Award nominated actor and Hollywood icon Burt Reynolds passed away at 82. Star Wars Films, He was a special celebrity guest at WrestleMania 10, serving as a ring announcer for the main event and a championship match with Bret Hart against Yokozuna. WWE considers his condolences to the Reynolds family, friends, and fans. And then they repeat that he was the ring announcer for WrestleMania 10. But yeah, so I'm doing that. PWI 500. That's what we want to dig into before we go into the WWE talk. So this year, for 2018, I will go in reverse order. I'll go from 10 to 1, and then we'll talk about it. So number 10 is The Miz. There's an argument he could be higher on this list, but we'll get to that. Tetsuya Naito. There's an argument he could be higher on the list. Number 9. Number 8, Cody Rhodes. Number 7, Roman Reigns. Number 6, Braun Strowman. Number 5, Seth Rollins. Number 4, Brock Lesnar. Rounded out the top 3, Kushida Okada, last year's number 1. AJ Styles, the number 1 from 2016. And this year's number 1 is Kenny Omega. Now, I could take Brock Lesnar out of the top 10. Brock ain't wrestled enough. I get his box office appeal, but it just don't. The ticket draws on this list are AJ, Kenny, Okada. Roman Reigns is in there. Now, I don't think Brock has had the best year. Like, I think one thing we wanted to do was get the belt off of him. Because the belt it almost went dormant dealing with Brock. Roman Reigns is probably accurate at 7 because despite all the pushes, he still hasn't turned the corner. Rollins at 5 is solid, but I think they could have done more with Rollins. I thought his last run with the IC title was really good, but neither here nor there. Cody Rhodes, argument he could be higher. The year he's been having, but I'll give this to. I mean, I understand that he didn't have a signature win till just now, till Saturday. A lot of the wins he had didn't really resonate, so his signature win comes on Saturday. So there's that. Naito, winner of G1 the year before, kind of getting to a fixture in that main event, semi-main status. So we'll see how that goes. The Miz is at 10, but it's fair to say that he's underutilized also. And it's fair to say that somebody who did this list felt like he could be higher, but felt like maybe we just have to concede because the WWE hasn't figured out exactly what to do with him. But the A-lister has been a prominent part of every program he's been on. I think he was very helpful to Raw and SmackDown. And, it's a good deal. Braun, Money in the Bank winner, I don't know. Okada's accurate at 3. You could make a statement that maybe Okada could have been 2 again and AJ could have went to 3. That's the only thing I could argue. But 1 being Kenny Omega, I think is clear. I think he's had the year that stacks up enough. That's that. So that's the PWI 500 right now. PWI is Pro Wrestling Illustrated, the premier wrestling magazine in the country, still to this day, still hanging out. Do I want to get into some of the other names? Not really. I mean, I can go down the list. PWI has it on their website, but we deal with that later. So let's talk Raw and SmackDown. Raw's interesting. So Ray Young was back on commentary this week. So I would like to say Renee is filling in for Coach. She filled it. Like, we knew she was going to do it the week before last, but we didn't know she was going to do it again this week. Coach is on assignment. He is filming for the Golf Channel. How do I know? Because I start watching the longest driver competition, and who the voice that I hear is Jonathan Coachman. So Jonathan Coachman was in Las Vegas doing a golf event for the Golf Channel. So Renee Young stepped back in the booth, did an excellent job. It's really something that she should be doing probably more of. So good for her. Good for fans to hear too. Braun, Dolph, and Drew McIntyre opened up the show. That's the new alliance after they beat down Roman Reigns last week. That is the Click. This takes a lot of steam out of the Monster. Just want to let y'all know. That guy was on fire. He had the crowd nuts when he was about to cash in. But it's like, But yeah, so they open up the show. The Shield comes down. It's a brawl. Corbin sits down the troops. Then they sit down some more. And that's what happens. And then they break up the fight. They put the Shield in the paddy wagon. They are taken to jail for starting a riot because the show is being ran by a heel. And I guess the Shield are heels, and Braun and Dolph and Drew are heels. So we're gonna send away the baby faces. They go to jail. They get booked, and that's that. That's them for a while tonight. The matches on the show. The Bella Twins had their first return match on Raw. I think they hadn't wrestled since 2015 on Raw. They defeated the Riot Squad with Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan. Ruby Riott did not wrestle, of course. But, yeah. So, I thought the Bella Twins looked decent. There were some moments where it looked a little slow. Alexa Bliss defeated Natalya. Ronda Rousey was ringside along with Alicia Fox and Mickie James. I will leave out that Alexa Bliss was flirting with Elias before the match. But anyway, they made Rousey look strong. Natty look weak. Natty lost. She got beat, and then they jumped everybody. But Rousey was tossing people, and she protected the ring. Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler are new tag team champions. They defeated the B team, which that was quick. I don't think the B team had a chance to have a good run. But Dolph and Drew, they got the match. The Revival was supposed to hold that match that night, but Constable Corbin told Dolph and Drew, hey man, if those guys couldn't make it, they could be in there. They went down and beat the hell out of the Revival, which as a heel I like. So they're even going to beat down other heels. Now, with that being said, those heels cannot participate in any more beatdowns or jumpings or something like that. Because, I mean, that just would be wrong. But, yeah, they jumped the Revival and they went out there and won the match. These guys could be a good tag team. I mean, a real good tag team. But, so yeah, that was that. AOP beat up some jobbers and revealed they're going to be managed by Drew Maverick. Not sure if that was a good idea. Highlight of the night probably was the confrontation between Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels came out because he was scheduled to be at Raw. Undertaker was not, but he showed up. Yeah, so I thought the back and forth was good. And I think they're teasing the idea of a Shawn Michaels coming out of retirement match. Which, the thing is, if he came out of retirement, there's only one match. It'd be Undertaker. And it'd have to be at, like, WrestleMania. So, yeah. That was that. Sasha Banks and Bayley defeated and removed Dana Brooke. Dana Brooke quits Titus Worldwide. Kevin Owens returns. He attacks Bobby Lashley while he was doing some meditating with Jinder Mahal. This is what I'll say about that. I said Kevin Owens returns, and he really never left. Anyway, the idea would have been this for me. Keep KO out for a couple of weeks, maybe longer. And just been asking, so where is he at? I don't know. Somebody check on him. Have a few people on camera call him. But he's not going to answer. And this is going to be this big to-do. And pay him out. Do what you're supposed to do. And, kind of is what it is. But, yeah, I thought that was a bad idea. Braun Strowman defeated Finn Balor in the main event. Him and his new crew beat up Finn pretty bad. Then the Shield showed up. And they got bum rushed, man. They got beat down by like 6 or 7 extra heels. And then they started directing traffic, and different guys got beat up pretty bad. So, kind of, I don't know. I was underwhelmed with the end of the show, and I wasn't really that impressed. And I feel like I said they've taken a lot of steam out of the monster. I liked it better when he was a monster and he was destroying shit. I liked it better when the Shield jumped him to stop him from cashing in the Money in the Bank. I thought it was a bad idea because the crowd was nuts for it. But it took that. I would have liked it even if the Shield would have tried it again and wasn't successful because he just out-monstered him. And it would be like, Thanos. But no. We decided we're going to go a different direction. So that happened. SmackDown was decent. Bray and Daniel opened up the show. Daniel had a rematch against Andrade and Cien Almas and won. Naomi beat Peyton Royce. The Iconics went for another 2-on-1 after. But, to be fair, Asuka showed up. And Asuka will be the partner for Naomi. Which also is kind of like, I like the idea. They're both colorful and that'll be fun. But we could have had something even better. Like, we could have had a chance for somebody else to be her partner and really make that interesting. But that happened. AJ Styles attacked Samoa Joe. Joe was supposed to be in Gainesville at AJ's house. So they thought AJ wasn't in the building. He was at home protecting his house. But he was at SmackDown and they got him restrained. Which, that storyline is a little dangerous because somebody might take that serious. Particularly AJ. Who knows? Rusev Day won something actually. So they'll as a tag team, they'll face the Bar in an opportunity to see who takes the number 1 contender for the New Day, which I thought was pretty good. Good job though. They defeated the Usos and Sanity to move on, and those guys will take on the Bar. And hey, let's see if Rusev Day can get some tag team titles, and maybe we're through burying it. The main event was R-Truth versus The Miz, which I'm sure some of y'all was like, where are we at? Is this 2005? No, R-Truth faced Miz. I think a lot of this is to promote the Mixed Match Challenge. So, and the match that will be happening between Daniel Bryan and Brie versus Miz and Maurice. So, as you know, Lamas and Selena Vega have been getting involved in this mix. So, R-Truth wrestled Miz and he needed a partner. So, he called on his partner, who's going to be his partner for the Mixed Match Challenge, Carmella. Which, I don't know if this is going to be where Carmella is kind of having a face turn, because that is kind of how things were looking. But yeah, that's kind of where we were with that. That's But that was it. It was a decent show. Not too great, not too bad. With that being said, we are done. Thank you guys for listening. We will be back next week with a preview of Hell in the Cell. And I give you a breakdown of the card. And wow, probably some of these matches shouldn't be happening in the cell, but that's another story for another time. But with that being said, thank you for listening this week. We'll be back next week, and peace.